Will Arsenal spend big in January? Is there more business to be done at Manchester United? And will Manchester City overcome the pressures of financial fair play? Joining me today on the sofa are Goals Greg Stobart and Peter Staunton. I'm Aidan Magee, and this is Transfer Talk. Okay guys, I want to talk about Arsenal first of all. They weren't slow in doing their business last summer, although they did do one deal quite late. Do you expect them to be active this time around because there are still obvious deficiencies in the squad?
Well, they have to be, Aidan. I think you're looking at Arsene Wenger already under a lot of pressure from the Arsenal fans, and it goes back to the failure to address glaring issues in the squad, not just last summer, but over the last couple of years. They needed to sign a backup centre-back after Vermaelen left, and they didn't, and I think that will be the priority in January. I think even a deal for someone like Winston Reid, who's got 6 months left on his contract, or Virgil van Dijk from Celtic, that would be the perfect deal to get them going.
Maybe a defensive midfielder, Pete?
Yeah, obviously the injuries to Michael Arteta and to Jack Wilshere really showed the deficiencies in that part of the squad as well towards the end of 2014. And, you know, there have been players linked. Christoph Kramer, obviously the World Cup winner at Borussia Mönchengladbach, has been linked. James McCarthy, Roberto Martinez was forced before Christmas to come out and deny that a deal was agreed with Arsenal. So we do know that Arsenal, they're looking to move 4 players within this central midfield sector, and it would be a surprise if they went another 12 months, maybe not in this transfer window, but if they went through the next summer without addressing that particular deficiency.
I think the thing with that is they can get away with not having a specialist defensive midfielder against the weaker teams, but whenever we see them against the better sides, it's always their problem. And for me, I don't understand why they've never made a move for Morgan Schneiderlin. They've been looking and looking and looking at him, but Wenger's never really made a move. But he would be perfect for those big games when they play the likes of City and Chelsea.
What they do need is to do better than they did in that position in last year's transfer window, when they brought in Kim Källström from Spartak Moscow, and he spent the first 6 weeks of what, a 4-month loan deal injured. So, you know, that was the type of transfer that really upset the Arsenal fans, got their backs up, and made them think that Wenger really didn't have the expertise to take them forward in the market. What he needs is another statement signing, like he made with Alexis Sanchez, to show, look, I'm in business, I know what I'm doing, and I'm not afraid to spend the money. And
the money's there to spend now. There's 170 million cash in the bank. The stadium's more or less paid for, so no excuses. We've seen Wenger spending money. Let's see him do it again.
Well, that's Arsenal. Talking about spending money, Manchester United spent colossal amounts in the last window, yet still the squad looks so unbalanced.
Yeah, look, personally, I think United have been unlucky during the first part of the season with the injuries that they've experienced. You know, at one stage or another, almost all their new signings have been out. Luke Shaw, Marcus Rojo, Ander Herrera, Daley Blind, Falcao, they've all been injured. So we've not really seen what Louis van Gaal has planned for his core members of the squad, and in what way he can prepare from game to game when he is all the members of that squad fit. I do think he's been unlucky. However, they were in for more players than they got in the summer transfer window, so some of them might be revisited in January.
They still need defenders as well, Greg, don't they?
Well, certainly. You look at someone like Marcus Rojo, that's a sticking plaster for me. What they really need is a world-class centre-back. They lost Vidic and Ferdinand last summer, and they haven't replaced them. I think Van Gaal's dream would be Mats Hummels, but I'd be very surprised if that happens in January. Certainly that could happen in the summer. And we know Van Gaal, he has his favourites. He wants Hummels, and he certainly wants Kevin Strootman as well from Roma. Yeah,
and Strootman obviously coming off that injury, he might need to get fit before you know, he might be proven to be Manchester United standard. Likewise, Hummels has been injured pretty much all the season long with Borussia Dortmund, so that deal might not go ahead in January. So we might see Ron Vlaar, the interest rekindled from Louis van Gaal. Vlaar performed very, very well for Van Gaal last year at the World Cup, and he could be just the type of solution they need to carry them over, give them an extra body until the end of the season.
So Chelsea are seeing the benefits of their transfer business last summer. What about Manchester City? Do you expect them to be busy? Do you expect them to do some business and mount that challenge?
I think they need to spend. I think they need some attacking players, but I can't see who they can get, who'll be available in January. It's a notoriously difficult time to buy top players with clubs fighting for titles, playing in the Champions League. You have to pay a huge premium, and City are still restricted by their FFP punishment. So I can't see them signing any big names in January. Certainly you'd think that they will extend Frank Lampard's loan, maybe even to the end of the season.
What about Chelsea, Pete? I mean, an extra signing for them would be just trying to nail on that title, wouldn't it?
Well, you know, last year their season almost turned with the signing of Nemanja Matic in the January transfer window, a brilliant signing. But players like that in the January transfer window are few and far between. So if we do see anything happening at Chelsea, it might be a loan deal for Mohamed Salah going somewhere like Everton. I've seen him linked with. But other than that, I would say that, you know, there'll be more outgoings than incomings at Chelsea in the January transfer window.
I think Petr Cech's the one with Chelsea because he's a club legend. The fans love him. I think he's not playing, he's out of the squad, Courtois instead. And I think he deserves the respect of being allowed to move if that opportunity arises. I wouldn't be surprised if he leaves, even if it's on loan, because he's so good, he deserves to be playing every week.
And a word finally on Tottenham and Liverpool. Patchy seasons for both of them. Can they rectify that in January?
Well, we've seen both clubs spend an awful lot of money over the last couple of years and it's not worked out. So they should have learnt their lessons and realised that throwing money at a problem doesn't solve anything. Liverpool have got their conundrum with what they do with Mario Balotelli because that hasn't really worked out at all.
OK, thanks guys. And don't forget, you can stay across all those transfer stories and much more on Golf.